Really, it started son and daughter, 23, 26. They had a great idea. They were going to head off to some surf town. They were going to live there for 3 months. They were going to work from there, surf, and do whatever from there. Until they started looking around, and the cheapest place they could find to rent on a temporary basis was about $6,000 a month. And they could not afford $6,000 a month. So I said, well, you know what, rent the place. Go on Craigslist, go to Facebook Marketplace, like rent it the couches, spots on the floor, extra rooms, whatever you need to do to get people in there. Enough people in there, you might even live for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Future is Remote. As always, I am your host, Kenneth, the remote evangelist. And with me in the virtual studio today, I have Cody. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming. Today we're going to talk about something fun. In a previous episode, I spoke about co-living houses, co-living spaces, and I think that's probably how you and I connected. And today we're going to talk about another platform that enables co-living, particularly for shorter periods of time, and that's Bunking.co.
Bunking.com. Yes, sir.
Oh, it's a Bunking.com.
Yeah.
Not the CEO. Okay.
No, it's just IBM, and we're okay.
All right, we're going to talk about Bunking.com. I think I need to update some of my of my posts on that. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show today. How about we start with a quick kind of download so our listeners knows what we're talking about in 30 seconds or less. Steve, what is Bunking.com?
So Bunking.com is a marketplace that we've created that helps to connect like-minded people for either kind of shared living or shared travel opportunities.
So it's a platform connecting people who want to live together, who want to travel together, who want to work together. We're going to have a look at the platform a little later, but before we go there, let's talk a little about why this is important. Why did you decide to start this?
Yeah, I think that's probably a great point to highlight. It started son and daughter, 23, 26. They had a great idea. They were going to, this is about 2 years ago, they were going to head off to some surf town. They were going to live there for 3 months. They were going to work from there, surf, and do whatever from there. Until they started looking around, and the cheapest place they could find to rent on a temporary basis was about $6,000 a month.
A month,
And,
$6,000.
A month. And they could not afford $6,000 a month. So I said, well, you know what, rent the place. Go on Craigslist, go to Facebook Marketplace, like rent out the couches, the spots on the floor, extra rooms, whatever you need to do to get people in there. Enough people in there, you might even live for free. And then my daughter kind of looks at me and she's like, okay, well, what about axe murders and how do people pay? So, good questions, right?
Two good questions.
Yeah. So, like, the safety thing was obviously the bigger concern. So we went online and we started looking around and said, okay, well, if people are traveling with strangers, living with strangers, like, how do they vet these people?
Yeah.
And we couldn't find anything. So that was interesting. And the more we started talking about, my daughter's a TikTok influencer. So, she started saying, well, if I'm going to live with strangers for 3 months, she says, I want to do collaborative living. And I'm like, what the hell is collaborative living? So then she pulls out these places in LA, like these TikTok houses. And she's explaining that, it's where TikTokers get together to live, to collaborate, create content. I'm like, that's really cool. And then my son, he's a product manager in tech. He's like, whoa, hang on a second. I never have an office to go back to. So if I'm going to live with strangers for 3 months, I'd love them to be from technology. That way I could learn and I could mentor. Well, anyways, so it was kind of like hearing all that, just kind of thought maybe there was an opportunity to help people in their situation, right? Because number one, they couldn't afford it. So they had to find a way to share with others. There was a safety concern. So how do you help solve that? And then kind of a platform where like-minded people could get together to connect. So really that's where the whole idea originated. So on Bunking, one of the really cool features we have is, so if my daughter wants to join a bunking pod, she may join a bunking pod where the host has made it a rule that anybody who joins needs to have a criminal background check done through their bunking profile.
Yeah.
So then she knows right? That everybody's, at least they don't have criminal records, right? So that's just a huge step towards providing.
I love the platform, and I have actually already created my own bunk. On the previous episode, which I mentioned, I went out and said I'm going to do a pilot, an MVP, a prototype, where I'm going to open up my house in Spain, in Malaga, to remote workers. So I would like to invite people to come stay with me, rent a room. You'll have access to the full house, to the pool area, to working spaces, to offices, to Wi-Fi, and lots of coffee. But then I kind of ran into the problem. Okay, well, where do I find these people? All these people who wanted to come and stay, how will they be made aware of my place? The podcast, it's not going to be enough. Posting it on LinkedIn randomly isn't going to be enough. So I needed a platform that I could use.
Yeah, and you did it. I mean, I love the bunking pod you created. Beautiful pictures, beautiful place. You know, very reasonable in terms of pricing. So yeah, I really like it. And thank you for adding it to bunking.
Of course, we're going to have a look at it a little later, but during the process, because I'm also kind of beta testing it for you guys, right? I found it super easy. Awesome. I went in there, I uploaded some pictures, I wrote some text, and there were guides throughout kind of prompting me to get the right information in there. So I really enjoyed the user experience. I basically kind of see it as a Airbnb for short-term co-living.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a mix of like, I like to say like couch surfing, Bumble, like the dating app,
yeah,
and Airbnb. So it's kind of a mix, right? So, because at least with bunking, like it's all about like reducing anxiety and making people feel good, feel safe. And I think an important way of doing that is having transparency. So, like you built a great profile, so if somebody went on there, they really kind of get to know you as a host, right? Which you don't really get that, I don't think, on Airbnb. So sometimes you can't even see information and, you can't even see the person's real profile until you book. So with bunking, we try to open that up and make people feel kind of as comfortable as they can be.
And I like that because it was asking me about my interests, what I'm like as a person, what I want to do with the place, with the bunk, or the bunking pod, I guess is what you call it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me a little about how you built it.
Well, I mean, we were in development for a year and a half. So Marketplace Studios, which is a company that we own, we build marketplaces for companies around the world. So that team is the one that built it. We spent, I would say, the first 3 months just simply doing design thinking.
Yeah.
So building really almost interactive mocks and getting a lot of user testing and getting some feedback at that point, which we're doing again now that we're in beta. Because you get different kind of results in your user testing when you can show the whole platform kind of completely done, as opposed to like when you're building it in pieces early on and you kind of haven't figured it out, or we haven't even figured it out ourselves. So yeah, so we spent the first 3 months doing design thinking, and then really the rest of the time building it, iterating a little bit, adding things. We released in beta a little over a month and a half ago. We're getting some awesome feedback, the itinerary. We've had people asking, like, we want to upload videos for every day of the itinerary so we can tell our guests what's going to be happening with a little more excitement than words. We're adding insurance so people can get like trip cancellation insurance, accommodations insurance, pet insurance. We're adding a book now, pay later feature. So a lot of people are asking us about that. So we're getting some really good feedback. And that's what this whole kind of beta period is, right? We haven't spent a dime on marketing, and everything's organic at this point. Once we're out of beta, then I think we'll really start to scale it.
And for inspiration, I was browsing and looking at other bunking pods, and there's quite a lot on the platform already.
Yeah, some good, like, it's just like really neat, right? To see maybe a safari or, just a lot of crazy, cool ideas on there. So yeah, a lot of fun for people to go explore. The other thing too, Kenneth, is the wish pods. So, we've got the bunking pods, which is something you book into. A wish pod is if you had a crazy ass idea, like going to live in an igloo for a couple of weeks and you want other people to do that with you,
Yeah.
you create a wish pod. No commitment. It's what I'd love to do. How many people you're looking for? 4 to 6 people. It'll be $800 to $1,200. Whatever the parameters are, people can sign up to the wait list. No commitment, but if you saw enough interest, then you might want to convert to a bunking pod.
And I like that a lot. No offense to my friends. I love my friends, but they have a tendency to be busy and or boring. So the few times in my life I've had these crazy ideas, having a platform like this to find it would have made all of the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So to go live in an igloo, right? Not many people want to live in an igloo. So
Including me, that's way too cold. But you did say safari and a couple of other things there that look a lot more interested in igloo living.
exactly.
All right, Steve, how about we have a look at the platform? If you want to go ahead and share your screen and show us around. I've loaded it up on my screen now, so if you want to just guide me through it and show me what it can do.
Perfect. So just to kind of, to tell you where you are, you've signed up to Bunking. So you basically end up with a personalized homepage.
Right?
And what that does for you over time, we're able to kind of learn what you like, what you've looked at, and we're able to start feeding you kind of bunking pods and wish pods that would likely interest you the most, right? So that's what this homepage is.
Yeah.
Ones you've looked at and ones you've saved. And yeah, so now if you kind of scroll back to the top.
There we go.
Yeah. And if we just click that, the kind of the pinkish button, just
Over
go
here.
right to the end just click that.
Sure.
And we'll end up. So this gives us a sense of, where the different places are around the world.
Oh, that's nice.
so
There's lots of places.
Yeah. And we can search by interest. We can search by dates or anything. But I think here, what I'd love to do is just kind of scroll down and have a look at your pod. So I think you scroll down so you can see the wish pods where it says that type right hand corner. Oh, there's yours.
This looks familiar, no?
Yeah, that looks like a handsome guy there. So, so click on that.
Okay, there we go. And there's my little house.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a really nice house. So basically, this is what we call as a showcase. So this is your ad.
Yeah.
It kind of, you've got your description there. What I really love is like where you have the age and the rules. So how you want like your pod curated, right? Which is an extremely important part of bunking. So we kind of you have a theme for your pod. You have rules for your pod. So people know what the rules are before they join it or they request to join it. And then you're curating the group. So what's kind of that age group that I want to have? Are they night owls? Are they clean freaks? Like, how do we want to curate this group? And I think, if we can be really proactive in doing that, it helps a lot in terms of reducing anxiety and just getting the right people together. So, yeah, so you've selected that. Those are just little buttons you can click.
I like the no lifeguard on duty. That felt important.
I saw that. That was good. Hey, you might as well make it obvious, right?
No, but a lot of these are great, such as highly socializing, relaxing. You kind of come to work, you come to stay, but it is a social setting. Yeah, I really enjoyed the kind of selecting the right ones here.
Well, yeah, like it's when we did early research, when we talked about like, people coming together to live for either short or long-term stays, you'd hear stories about, well, one person wants to be up at 5 a.m. and the other person wants to be up at 9 a.m. or somebody wants to go to bed at 1 a.m. The other, so all of these kind of conflicts, one person's messy, one person is a clean freak. So, if you can kind of be proactive and put all that out there beforehand, it helps just set the right expectation. And we think ultimately people will have better experiences because of that. So, great little description you put in there. People can message you directly. Once somebody joins your pod, then they become part of your pod chat. So there's a group chat for everybody.
Oh, that's
Again,
cool.
That's kind of nice, right? So if you had somebody coming to visit your place in a couple of weeks, they get to join the chat now. They get to see the profiles of the people that are already there. And it just, again, it's about reducing anxiety in the whole experience. And so that's what we're focused on.
So I really like this one up here, Steve, the pod itinerary.
Oh, yeah.
This I haven't seen anywhere else because when I posted this, it's important for me that this is not for tourists. I don't want people who are just coming to explore the area or who are going to stay in Malaga for a couple of days. For me, this is for people who want to come work, get their shit done. So I was able to build an itinerary. I called it Accountability Buddies.
I like that. Yeah,
and let's see if we can expand this. Basically, we're saying if you come here and stay here and work here, we're going to keep each other accountable. So on the Monday mornings, we're going to do a goal-setting session where we draw up the plan for the week, the goals for the week. And then every day, we're going to do check-ins, saying, hey, how did I go yesterday? How are you doing compared to the commitments that we made? And then on Friday, we'll celebrate the success that we've had together.
Love it. And that was one of the parts, Kenneth, was feedback. So, you could have gone further and, done one for each single day.
Yeah.
And then you could have uploaded a video for every single day. So you could have kind of expressed, more emotion and everything in terms of just because it's about people getting to know people, right? Before you meet. So the videos are really important. So yeah, I love that whole itinerary feature as well.
And I like that you were able to upload pictures, not just of the place. There are pictures there if anybody wants to go see, but also about the host and kind of my lifestyle. There's a picture of me and my little dog.
Could we go up and maybe we can look at your profile?
Let's see if we can find it.
If you click on your picture there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Hair, perhaps. There we go. Yeah.
So there you go. Right. So now we get to know a little bit. We know what your interests are. You've got a couple of pictures, and there's even more info that you can fill in when you're doing it, much like you would a dating app, but it's completely up to the person. Add as much info as you'd like, right? As much as you want other people to know. So yeah, so we definitely like that feature, and the feedback has been very positive.
Super cool. All right, so let's say I'm not me, right? But I'm a guest who would want to come and stay here. I would just go here, select booking details, I guess. I'd see where there's availability. I'd go in, I'd click it, and that's it.
And the rate will come up. If you could have selected a minimum stay of, say, 5 days, and I think you might have a minimum stay.
Yeah, I think I said 5 days because I want people to come and work.
Yeah, so it'll automatically prompt the user to for a minimum of 5 days. They book it. You assigned a daily rate or a weekly rate. So depending on the length of stay they have, it'll figure out the rate, and that's it. So I think an important thing to note, Kenneth, is we don't do instant booking, so it is a request booking. So again, it's about that transparency and making sure we're getting the right group of people together.
So I get to see who's requesting to stay.
Yeah, exactly.
I can vet that if it fits for the for kind of the theme of the place.
Exactly. Message it. Like, are you okay with these kind of that itinerary you have set up, the accountability, whatever's important to you, right? And again, it's about creating better outcomes. And I think that's what we help with. So yeah, they can pick their space. So you could have, we divide spaces into 3 different areas. So one is like a public space. So that could be a spot on the floor or a couch.
Yeah.
Another one is a shared space. So it could be a room with multiple beds or a private space. And Bunking manages the calendar for each of those sleeping areas, and you can assign a different rate to all of those sleeping areas, as you probably saw.
Yeah, I noticed there were quite a lot of features there, setting up the various rooms. In my case, I didn't need that, but I see how that can be used. Say if there is a room with multiple beds, or if you're staying maybe in a smaller place, a cabin or something, to really optimize the space.
And it'll suggest the rates. I don't know if you saw that, but there's a rate kind of calculator there that'll suggest to people if they're not sure what, if you want to make a profit, you can put in your, whatever your costs are, what profit you want to make, and then it'll auto calculate what you should charge for each sleeping area.
Super. I love it, Steve. Bunking.com, if anybody wants to go set up a pod or join a pod or come stay at my pod, go check it out.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for sharing what we're doing.
Thanks for coming on the show, Steve. I really do appreciate it. I am a big fan, so I am looking forward to staying in touch, and hopefully we'll hear from you on the show again in the future.
Awesome. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Steve Cody from Bunking.com showing off his platform for creating co-living spaces or bunking pods. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to hit subscribe. My name is Kenneth, and you are listening to The Future is Remote.